Okay, hi everyone. Thank you all for being here today. Welcome to our second training, How to Use Your Voice on Advocacy Day. Just a quick reminder, we will be recording the training, so please turn off your video if you do not want to be shown, and please mute if not speaking. And if you need any assistance throughout this training, please contact Jasmine in the chat or via her email, and her email is here on the slide. Next slide, please. Okay, here is all of Coalition staff. My name's Angelica Andrade. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I'm the administrative assistant and Spanish training coordinator. And the first person on this slide, we have Jenia Cassidy, who's our director. She's not with us at the moment, but she is our director, and I can pass it to Katie.
Thank you so much, Angelica. Great to see everyone. My name is Katie Duberg. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the political organizing director at the California Work and Family Coalition, and I will pass to Jared.
Hi everyone, my name is Jared Caceres. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm the communications manager at the Work and Family Coalition, and I'll pass it to Natasha.
Hi everyone, my name is Natasha Castro. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the education and outreach organizer with the coalition. I'll pass it to Jasmine.
Hi everyone, I am Jasmine. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the education and training manager. And I'll go ahead and pass it back to Angelica.
Thank you, Jasmine. And we do also have two interns with us. Abby, who I'm not sure if she's here on this training, but I know Elizabeth is. So Elizabeth, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Elizabeth Aguirre. My pronouns are she, her, and I am one of the interns for the California Work and Family Coalition. I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Next slide. In here, you can just see a list of our organizational members who make the coalition. Next slide. So I've seen that some of you are already putting your name and pronouns in the chat, so please feel free to do that. We'd like for you guys to get to know each other, and we would also like to know who's in the Zoom. Next slide. So the meeting agenda for this training today, we just went over welcome and intros. The next thing is we're going to go over a short recap of California state government and advocacy fundamentals, and then we'll go into the two bills we'll be talking about, AB 518 and SB 1090, and then we'll go and cover what to expect in a legislative meeting, and then we'll have a very fun role play. And after that, we'll go over the next three bills we're supporting this year, which are AB 2123, AB 2499, AB 2901, and then we'll have another role play. And after that, we'll end the training and go over Advocacy Day Logistics. Next slide. So before we go into all the content we have to share with you all today, we just wanted to kind of do a short recap on what's the difference between paid sick and safe days versus paid family and medical leave. So paid sick and safe days is used for short-term leave needs, such as the flu or COVID or medical appointments, whether that medical appointment is for you or you need to take someone to their medical appointment. And this also includes safe days, so it can be used for reasons related to domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking. Now, paid family and medical leave are used for longer-term leave needs, such as cancer treatment, recovering from surgery, giving birth, caring for a seriously ill family member, or bonding with the new baby. Next slide. And so now I'll pass it to Elizabeth.
Hello, everyone. We're going to first get into California state government and advocacy fundamentals. Let's get started. So in the California state government, there are 80 assembly members, 40 senators, and 1 governor. So let's talk a little bit about how a bill gets its name and how it becomes a law. So in California, thousands of bills are introduced every year, and each bill is assigned a number for identification purposes. When a bill is introduced by an assembly member, it's known as assembly bill followed by a bill number. So AB 518 is an example, or when a bill is introduced by a senator, it's referred to as a Senate bill followed by the bill number, which would be SB 1090. Those are some that we might talk about today. More than 50% of state assembly members must vote yes for a bill to become a law. More than 50% of state senators must vote yes. The governor will either sign the bill and it will become a law, or the governor can veto the bill and it will not become a law. And a lot of times this happens and we have to start all the way from the beginning, and that can be frustrating. Next. Why is it important for you to meet with your legislator? Living in an assembly or Senate district makes you a constituent of that district. It's crucial to engage with your state assembly members and senators. Your participation ensures that they hear from you, their constituents, before making decisions on bills. Next. And now we'll be talking about the bills that we will be discussing on May 7th, and I will pass it to Jasmine.
Thanks, Elizabeth. Thanks for that overview. Yeah, so the bills that we're talking to senators about on May 7th are AB 518, which is paid leave for chosen family, which is a bill we're continuing to advocate for since last year, 2023, and as well as SB 1090, which is early application for paid family leave and disability insurance benefits. Next slide. So first, to set context, this year, under the California Family Rights Act, or CFRA, eligible California workers can take up to 12 weeks of job-protected unpaid leave to care for a seriously ill designated person, in addition to family members, which, thank you for drawing attention to that, Melody. Appreciate that. So on one hand, this is a huge step forward in recognizing how dynamic California families are and giving that time to take care of family members when they're healing from a seriously ill, serious health condition. But on the other hand, many workers can't afford to take unpaid leave. Next slide. So the first bill we're advocating for is AB 518, which is written by Assemblymember Wicks, which expands and builds upon the current paid family leave law. It would allow Californians to use paid family leave to care for listed family members and a designated person who is a member of a worker's chosen or extended family. Next. So let's break down what that means. So PFL would allow you to receive partial pay, specifically if you're paying into the state disability insurance fund. When you take longer term leave for caregiving for a seriously ill child, parent-in-law, spouse, registered domestic partner, grandparent, grandchild, or sibling. But California workers cannot receive paid family leave if they need to care for a member of their chosen or extended family who is not one of the family members listed on the left. And think about it. Who's someone you would consider family who isn't one of the family members listed here? And feel free to share in the chat. For me in particular, someone who comes to mind is my cousins, or like my next door neighbor is my boyfriend's cousin, and his girlfriend is someone who I consider family, but wouldn't be considered family under this law. Ooh, yeah, Elizabeth, you mentioned your niece. Katie mentioned her best friend. Angelica says her ex-coworker that she's caring for. Ooh, thank you, Nancy. Appreciate that. And then next slide. Okay, so to help in a more visual sense, family members in yellow on the left both qualify for paid family leave, which are partial pay benefits, and CFRA, which is the job protection piece. But family members on the right only qualify for CFRA, which is just the job protection piece. It's important that we update paid family leave's definition of family to reflect how different families can look just outside of our nuclear family. And And in order to take leave, California workers really need both to have both their job protected and have the paid family leave benefits. So next slide. So with AB 518 in effect, all these family members would be able to qualify for both paid family leave and CIFRA to care for all of their family members. Oh yeah, thank you, Nancy. Yeah, 2 of your friends who are your nursing home visitors, you would consider your chosen family. Exactly. Okay, so another bill that we're supporting is the SB 1090 Durazo bill, which is early application for paid family leave and disability insurance benefits. And currently, California workers must wait until they're already on unpaid leave from work to bond with a new baby or for a family member's serious health condition before they can apply or before they begin the process of applying for paid family leave or SDI benefits. But here with SB 1090, it would allow California workers to apply for paid family leave and SDI benefits up to 30 days before they are on leave. As a result, workers would be able to get confirmation on their eligibility and benefit amount before starting their leave and receive benefits sooner. Oh, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to Elizabeth.
Hello. So now that we've talked about the bills we'll be speaking to senators about, let's talk a little bit about what to expect when meeting with legislators and how to share why a bill is important to you. So here are some quick tips on meeting with legislators. We always meet with legislators in groups, so you have a chance to bounce ideas off of people and just have that support, because it can be intimidating to speak about such big things and big things that are close to your heart. So that's why we meet in groups. The meetings are typically 15 to 30 minutes long, so they're not that long, they're pretty short. And if you speak, you do not have to speak for a long time. It's best to keep it brief. Like I mentioned before, it's very normal to be nervous. We'll meet beforehand to collaborate and answer any questions you may have. Remember, we are here to support one another. Here are some tips on how to briefly share why a bill is important to you. The first tip, describe why you care about the problem that the bill would solve. A personal experience, how it personally affects you, saying things such as, I personally experience this problem. I see this problem often in the community I live and or work in, and I see this problem as important to solve because of my values and or beliefs. The second one would be a solution. Bill X would address the problem I referenced because I personally would have had a different experience, people in the community I live in and our work in would benefit, or I would see my values and our beliefs reflected in our laws. Secondly, there are roles in legislative meetings. So there is a group leader, and this means that you would facilitate the meeting. You could have a speaking role, such as briefly explaining what the bill does and why it's important to you, as we mentioned in the previous slide, addressing tough questions, and asking if the legislator will support the bill. Those are all the speaking roles you could take. And lastly, you could be a note taker, which would mean that you would take notes on key points and questions and any follow-up that may be needed. And this is an example of what a meeting with a state senator could look like. So the group leader would introduce the meeting. The speaker one would discuss AB 518 and why it's important to them. Speaker 2 would briefly speak about SB 1090 and why it is important to them. So describing the bill and then saying, this is why it matters to me. And then there would be time for questions and discussions, and the group leader would say thank you and close the meeting. Yes, Melody, that was a really great point. It's very important to ask them to support instead of saying if. Now let's practice.
All right, so we just shared a lot of information. And so now what we want to do is we're going to do an example of what this meeting could look like. So there's a couple of us who are going to take on different roles. So Jared is going to be our state senator, Natasha is going to be our group leader, and then Cal and I are going to speak about a couple of different bills for a Senate meeting. So you all can see an example of what this could look like. And then you all will have a chance to take on some of these roles yourselves. And then we will discuss and kind of share what we think was effective. So let's kind of dive in. I feel like I need to do like a, scene or whatnot. So is everyone ready? Who's going to be in the role play to dive in? All right. And I see we have, so the senator has joined us. So Natasha, go ahead.
Hi, Senator Caceres. Thank you so much for meeting with us to talk about AB 518 and SB 1090. Let's start with a round of introductions. So I'm Natasha Castro. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm the education and outreach organizer with the coalition. And now I'm going to pass it to my colleagues to introduce themselves.
Hi, Senator. Thanks so much for meeting with us today. My name is Kel O'Hara. My pronouns are they, them. I'm a senior counsel of policy and education equity at Equal Rights Advocates. We're a member of this coalition and really happy to be here with you today. Katie, I'll pass it to you.
Thanks, Kel. My name is Katie Duberg. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm also with the California Work and Family Coalition. And thank you so much for taking the time, Senator.
Great. Now I'm going to pass it to Kel to tell us a little bit more about AB 518.
Sure. So AB 518 was introduced by Assemblymember Wicks. That is paid leave for chosen family. So AB 518 will update the definition of family member for the purposes of California's Paid Family Leave Program, or PFL. PFL provides partial wage replacement for qualifying California workers who have to take time away from work to take care of an ill family member or to bond with a new baby. And this is particularly important for low-wage workers in our state who are often unable to take unpaid leave. So at Equal Rights Advocates, where I work, we frequently represent low-wage workers, and we see how significant this can be for that community. However, our PFL model is based on an outdated family model that doesn't really reflect the lived reality of many Californians. So the current definition of family that is eligible for this PFL league is very narrow, and it leaves out both chosen family and extended family. And this disproportionately affects a few communities. So a major one is the LGBTQ community here in California. These are people who often rely on chosen family, and I include myself in that population. One study found that 42% of LGBTQ adults said they would depend on friends in an emergency, compared to 25% of the general population. For me personally, I am not from California. I don't have any biological family here, and the chosen family that I have built, and we are the people who take care of each other. We're the ones who are there for each other. So this is very real for me and a lot of the clients that I represent. AB 518 would also be significant for multi-generational households, older adults who maybe don't have the same kind of nuclear family support that we think about. And AB 518 will really continue the important work of making sure that workers can access these wage replacement benefits to take care of their family and allow them to continue participating in the workforce in a way that is protected and also allows them to tend to their family responsibilities. So we are asking you to support this bill and really appreciate your consideration.
Thank you so much, Kel, for sharing. Now I'm going to pass it to Katie to speak about SB 1090.
Thanks, Natasha. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the other bill that we're here to talk to you about today, which is SB 1090, authored by Senator Durazo. And this bill is pretty straightforward. It would just allow workers to apply for state disability insurance and paid family leave benefits before they're on leave. So right now, when people need leave because of their own serious health condition or because they're caring for a family member or bonding with a new baby, they actually have to wait until they're already out on leave before they can start their application for these benefits. And so what that means is that, one, people are trying to figure out their applications while they're in the midst of whatever life event has caused them to need leave. So they're up all night with a baby, and trying to figure out the EDD application, or they're recovering from surgery and trying to figure out the EDD application. But then it also means that people have to go without pay while they're figuring that out. So we want to change that, and we want workers to have the ability to apply for leave before they're actually on leave. And I would just say personally, I've really seen how stressful this is for people. Prior to this job, I was a lactation consultant in a hospital, and I would frequently work with new families who were trying to figure out the application process, like while they were still in the hospital with their baby. So their baby was like 12 hours old, in their hospital bed, trying to, recover, bond, breastfeed, all of these things, and like also trying to figure out these applications. So really appreciate you giving us the chance to speak about why these bills are so important.
Oh yeah, thanks so much everybody for sharing. That really is really strange and confusing why you can't apply early for paid family leave. I would hope that people's applications get answered in a timely manner, because that sounds really stressful. And yeah, just like, why is it impossible to apply early currently?
That's it. Or go ahead, Natasha.
I was just gonna say thank you so much for sharing that. And, do you have any questions?
No, just like a general, yeah.
Yes, I do. I have a question. This is Olga for Poder Latinx. And the question that I have, how this bills protect the community members that we have for farm workers? We just talking and the last training regarding to how they can protect this workers, the workers that don't have any status, and they deserve to just get benefit for this kind of bills. Do you have any information about how they can apply or is protecting?
So let's pause the role play, address Olga's question, and then come back. Does that work? Okay. So yeah, so you can receive paid family leave and state disability insurance benefits regardless of your citizenship status. That's not what the EDD is looking into with these programs. All they're looking at is, have you contributed to the programs? That's a great question. I feel like, should we pause the role play, or did you want to wrap it up, Natasha?
Yeah, I can wrap it up. Okay, thank you, Senator. Since you don't have any questions, can we count on your support on these bills?
I've voted for bills that have supported our families and children in the past, so I think after some consideration, I might vote in favor of this bill.
Sounds great. Thank you. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to email us. And again, thanks for making time to meet with us. And thank you for being supportive. Have a great day. Bye. So that concludes the first role play.
Yay. Shouldn't we have all been in Hollywood? No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so seeing a great question in the chat. So let's address this, and then let's see if we have any volunteers to do yeah, great. Okay, excellent, Jared. So we can have a live, we can have people practice that live. I think my sort of recommendation about opposition is sort of twofold, which is not to say that there aren't multiple ways to deal with this. I think it's usually good to start saying, like, thank you for raising that concern, from our perspective, and then you can kind of share like why the bill is important to you. Or if they ask you something and you don't know the answer, it's always better to say, you know what, that's a great question. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to find out and I'll follow up with you later, because it's always better to say that. And that's a way to kind of start to build relationships with legislators versus saying something that you're not totally sure is correct. And I will tell you, I meet with legislators and staff all the time. they frequently ask me questions that I don't know the answers to. So it's like, you'll never know the answer to every question that a legislator could ask you.
So the first one is AB 2123 by Assemblymember Pappen, and this is to improve access to paid family leave. And the second one is AB 2499 by Assemblymember Schiavo, which is focused on strengthening safe leave. And the last one is AB 2901 by Assemblymember Aguiar Curry, and it focuses on pregnancy leave for educators. Next slide. So for AB 2123, currently employers are allowed to require employees to use up to 2 weeks of vacation time before receiving paid family leave. So AB 2123 would remove that provision of the law so that employees can access their paid family leave benefits they pay for when they need them. So essentially AB 2123 would remove the provision where we don't have to take 2 weeks before our paid family leave. Next slide. AB 2499, again, focuses on strengthening safe leave, and this would allow California workers to use their paid sick and safe days and take unpaid leave from work to support a family member who is a survivor of domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, or other violent crimes, in specific activities to help the survivor recover and secure their safety. So as I mentioned in the beginning, we are allowed to use paid sick and safe days or save days for ourselves, but this would allow us to help support a family member who is going through that. And the second thing it would do, it would strengthen current anti-discrimination leave and accommodations for survivors of domestic violence and violent crimes, while simplifying the administrative process for survivors and family members who seek to enforce their rights. Next slide. And the last bill, AB 2901, is focused on pregnancy leave for educators. So this would grant school employees up to 14 weeks of leave with full pay, which will be paid by the employer when an employee is experiencing or has experienced pregnancy, miscarriage, childbirth, termination of pregnancy, or recovery from those conditions. Currently, California school employees cannot earn any paid pregnancy leave. When school employees get pregnant, they must first exhaust their sick leave before accessing partial pay, the amount that is left over after the substitute has been paid. And just like a short, FYI, we've mentioned in previous trainings that, certain workers or public workers do not opt in to the California SDI fund, and school employees are one of them, which is why they cannot access paid family leave and state disability insurance. Next slide. So we had another role play, but we are not gonna get to it just because of time. Next slide. Oh, and I'll pass it to Katie to go over our Advocacy Day logistics.
Yes, so we are going to talk about Advocacy Day logistics, and then we're going to have time for people to ask questions about any of the bills or anything that we covered today. So hopefully everyone has this calendar invite in their calendar already, but Advocacy Day is on May 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. In the morning, we're going to have a welcome and an orientation where we can all virtually meet each other and be inspired to go out and have our meetings with legislators and with staff, because a lot of our meetings will be with staff. And then from 10:45 to 1:45, we will all be in different groups, and then each group will have its own separate Zoom link and its own separate schedule of meetings. And Angelica and I are in the process of scheduling those meetings right now. So you will be grouped together with people who are close to you geographically. And our aim and hope is that folks will be able to meet with, if not their own legislator or a representative of their own legislator, someone who's close by. And then at the end of the day, from 1:45 to 2, we'll return to the main Zoom. We'll share some report backs from the meetings, and then we will go on with our day. Next slide. So we did just want to give everyone a reminder that we will be having interpretation at Advocacy Day, so that both English speakers and Spanish speakers can participate. So we just wanted to remind people about some best practices for when we have interpretation. So one is just logistically, everyone will be able to choose whether to participate in the meeting in English or Spanish in Zoom. And then the interpreters will be able to interpret both from English to Spanish and Spanish to English. And then in terms of best practices for bilingual spaces, speak a little bit more slowly than you might normally. Pause after you finish speaking. Both of these things are to allow the interpreters to catch up with you and then continue on. Speak clearly. And if anyone lets us know that there's a problem with interpretation, we want to pause until we resolve the issue. I see a question in the chat. We won't have ASL interpretation this time, but that's a great thing for us to think about for future events. So thank you for raising that. Next slide. All right. Well, thank you all so much for being here. You are already amazing advocates, and I'm excited for your legislators to get to hear from you. We will be in touch. Please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Angelica if you have any questions at all about Advocacy Day. And we will see you on May 7th. So thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.